Cool. Well, welcome and thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining this demo live from Spacestor. Welcome if you've joined us on Zoom, and welcome too if you're joining us via the LinkedIn live stream. Very excited to be sharing you a whistle-stop tour of the Spacestor London Design Centre today. So I'm presenting here from our London Design Centre in the heart of Clerkenwell's Design District. And then very shortly, we'll be taking you on a very short flight to the New York Design Centre, where Gordon MacDonald will be giving us a quick tour of the space there. So just going to give it just a second or two while everyone's getting logged in, seated comfortably, coffee's firmly grasped in your left hand. You can make a start. Good. Well, I think we'll start. And again, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. My name's Alex Harvey. I'm VP of Sales here at Spacestor, and really excited to be taking you on these very short tours of the Spacestor Design Centres in London here and in New York. But the primary purpose of today's presentation, of course, is to introduce our new reps for the Pennsylvania market, McKenna Co, to you. Now, I'm joined by Kate and Megan from McKenna Co, and we're going to be introducing them to you shortly. But just before we do that, let me just give you just a quick introduction to Spacestor and maybe a bit of background to who Spacestor are, just in case you've not worked with Spacestor in the past. So Spacestor are the creators of workplace furniture that's a blend of California cool and London design. And what that really speaks to is the core influences that have made Spacestor the company we are today and have influenced the type of product that we create and the type of clients that we're working with. So London design really speaks to our heritage, our roots, our background for nearly 30 years, creating modular workplace furniture here in London. And as you will see from the window just beside me, you get the occasional glimpse of a red London bus shooting past. So we are genuinely bringing you to the centre of London today. And that's the London design, if you like, the heritage and roots of Spacestor. And then California Cool really speaks to the beginning of our journey in the United States around 10 years ago when we opened our first design centre in California. And it had really been brought to us by our clients here in the UK and Europe, saying something like, we want an office like Google. And it seemed to be coming up time and time again, too much for it to be coincidental. So we took the decision of opening a design center in California so that we could be near to the trends that were coming, particularly out of the Silicon Valley tech companies at that point. And that has then led us to be represented nationally across the whole of the United States. So we've now got coverage across the majority of the states in the US, East and West Coast, as well as the central states as well. We've now got our design centers in New York, in Chicago, and then our production centers in Los Angeles and Philadelphia. So very broad national coverage. And the latest, or one of the latest additions to that team is McKenna Co. So I'm going to introduce you to Kate, who's going to give you a bit of a background to McKenna Co and let you know how you can reach out and contact them. So over to you, Kate.
Good morning, Alex. Thanks everyone for joining us today. McKenna Company is really happy to be supporting and representing Spacestor in the Eastern PA, Delaware, and Southern New Jersey markets. In a moment, I'll put a link to our website in the chat box, and then if you can reach all our contact information and anything you need will be there, and feel free to reach out to us. So we look forward today to seeing the London and New York showrooms. Thanks again.
Cool, thanks, Kate. Appreciate it. And as you rightly say, let's dive into the London Design Centre to start off with. So what I wanted to do was just give you a quick overview, a quick taster, if you like, of some of the products that Spacestor are seeing as the most popular and relevant in the post-COVID workplace. What we're seeing with many of our clients is some kind of refresh of design, or maybe a development of the designs they have to make the workplaces as relevant as possible and as useful as possible to the way that teams are now working, because we've seen a shift in the way we've been working over the last 2 years almost, with home working and hybrid working really emerging as the norm for many organizations, and a bit of a reset of where the office and the workplace fits into that. And I think the consensus we're seeing from the majority of our clients at Spacestor anyway is that the office still plays a really important part, but it's just one of the ways of working that we have. It used to be probably the main, sometimes the only way, but I think we're seeing a bit of a rebalancing of that. So the office is still a very important part of how we're going to work, but there's many other choices, and we make choices on a daily basis as to where we're going to work based on the type of work we're doing, often based on maybe the type of collaboration and interaction we're having with teams. And sometimes that's an individual thing, sometimes that's maybe based by the team activity, sometimes that's a company-led thing. But we're certainly seeing a reset of how people are using their workplace and how people are designing their workplaces. And what I wanted to do was take you through a few products that we see as being super relevant to that whole reset. And we'd love to invite you to either ask questions through the chat box on your screen if you're on Zoom, or through the LinkedIn chat box if you're on the live stream. And we'd love to invite you to connect with us. So Kate's just introduced McKenna Co. They're very much there to help and support you if you've got specific project inquiries. But myself and also Gordon, who you'll meet shortly, are also very much on hand to help you. So maybe if we dive into the first product we want to look at today, which is Verandas. This product right here. So Verandas is a modular plug and play set of meeting spaces, whether that's enclosed meeting rooms like this one we have here. So this is a fully enclosed meeting room with a glazed front, with a acoustic enclosed ceiling and door. So we can actually create an entire meeting suite or a meeting room that's decoupled from the building. So we've taken the meeting room with all the ventilation and MEP and lighting and everything else that goes into a traditional meeting room and turned that into a furniture item. And what makes this Verandas product really unique is the combination of that plug and play kit of parts approach that we've taken, so that we could take this 4-person meeting room or 5-person meeting room we have here right in front of us. In a year's time, we could not only move that to a different location, maybe a different floor, a different area of the building, and maybe even a different building altogether, but we could not only move that, we could actually reconfigure that and repurpose that to be a completely different type of meeting space. So maybe we could turn this larger meeting room into 2 or 3 smaller video rooms, or maybe a larger semi-open collaborative space. And you can see an example of that just here. So here we've got more of a kind of semi-open space. We've actually got the curtain provision to the front of the area. We've got the kind of semi-slatted wall around it. So the combination of those enclosed and semi-open spaces, but using the whole plug and play kit of parts approach, and then in addition to that, a really important part of the whole Verandas story is not just the functionality of the room, but also the customization and the possibilities of customization on the aesthetics. So here you'll see we've gone with this olive green external frame. We've got these cork pinnable sections. We've got the fabric walls on the far side. We've got the curtains. So we've gone with a very particular look and feel to fit with the design of the Spacestor London Design Centre here. But that could be very different for the next client and for the next environment we work in. There may be something that's more corporate, or maybe something that's more natural looking with timber finishes. And there's a huge amount of choice and customization with the whole Verandas product, so that it can fit seamlessly with the culture and brand that you're bringing to your workspaces. And then in addition to that, another really important part of the whole Verandas story is the overall sustainability message that it brings. So the product itself is inherently sustainable in that it's Declare approved, which means that the whole, what I like to call the ingredients, all the materials that go into making this product have been reviewed and assessed and will be able to contribute to, for example, a LEED or a WELL rating on a project. So the product itself is inherently sustainable, but also the change that it brings to your real estate really add to that. And what we're really talking about is replacing a load of drywall, a load of plasterboard or drywall built rooms with a modular furniture piece, so that in 5 years' time, when you come to change things around, when you come to adapt and change your workplace in the future, you're not shipping a load of drywall to landfill. You're not impacting the environment in that way. And then the final piece of that whole sustainability story is the social contribution we look to make with this product. And we've partnered with a international organisation or international charity called DePaul International, are really focused on combating homelessness. And the message here with verandas is that for every room that is delivered per region, we're actually supporting taking one homeless person off the street within that region. So if we have projects here in the UK and Europe or across the United States, we're actually, for every verandas product that's sold, we're actually contributing and helping to reduce homelessness in those regions. So that's the verandas product, and we're going to keep moving now onto a few other products as we shift through the London Design Centre here at Spacestor. Going to be particularly looking at products, as I say, that we see as particularly relevant in the post-COVID workplace. And an important part of what we're seeing with many of the clients here at Spacestor is the role that personal storage and lockers is playing in the workplaces of today and the future of workplaces. Because what we're seeing with many of our clients is they're developing and sometimes finessing their workplace strategies. And that's meaning that they're changing how people are using their workplace. So maybe you no longer have an assigned desk anymore, you're using some kind of unassigned or shared desking environment. And what we're seeing is that's then bringing about a change to how people securely store their personal stuff. The things that you would previously have left on your desk or maybe in your pedestal drawer, you wouldn't necessarily have your own desk, so you need somewhere to securely store those. And personal storage, whilst of course personal storage in itself is nothing new, that's certainly something that's been around for many years, but how it can be used to support those new workplace strategies, and particularly how technology, either using an app on your smartphone to open and access the locker, or using your RFID card. So in this case, I'm using this RFID card to open and access this locker solution. So you'll see across the lockers behind me, you've got a number of LED lights, some of which are showing red, they're in use, or green, it's available. You see we've also got a mix of sizes, and there's a lot of customization with the Spacestor Hot Locker family to customize to suit the requirements of you or for your clients. So with many clients, there are specific things they want to look to be able to store, whether it's a flight case, whether it's a motorbike helmet, whether it's a gym bag, or something very specific, like with many of our clients at the moment, it seems to be a keyboard and mouse seems to be a big conversation piece. So the ability to remove your keyboard and mouse from the shared desk, so you wouldn't necessarily want to share that keyboard and mouse with the previous user of that desk, and store it securely in your locker, and to make sure the locker is optimized to suit the size of that keyboard and mouse. But as I say, with this particular locking solution, and what we're seeing with many of our clients is the moving towards a technology-based locking solution, so that it becomes more flexible. It removes the headache of key management, and particularly if you've got 300 or 400 or more lockers, key management becomes quite a big task and quite a big, particularly for the facilities team, quite a big amount of workload. So with this lock system, as you can see, you've got this locker is available. So I can actually just hit the door, I can open it, I can put my stuff inside. And if I just shoot the camera around slightly, you will see that you've got a small LED on the inside of this locker. So that's lighting up the locker for me. I can actually have great visibility and see what's in my locker, particularly if it's on the lower down ones. You can't see this too well, but I've actually got a twin USB charge built into the lock as well. So if I wanted to leave my phone in there, I can actually charge that during the day. Maybe if I wanted to leave a headset, a Bluetooth headset of some sort overnight, I can leave that in there charging, so that when I arrive at my desk tomorrow morning, it's fully charged and ready to roll. So I put my stuff inside the locker, I close the door, and then very simply, I just present my card to the locker, and you've probably heard the little beep. That's now gone red. So that locker is now securely booked by this RFID card. And the system itself knows this person, this RFID card, has a locker now. And it wouldn't let me claim a second locker. So if I tried to claim this locker, you'll see that's flashing red, that's rejecting this card because it knows that I already have a locker. So very simple to use from a user experience point of view, and from a personal, from an individual perspective, very simple to use. So we can flip the door open just by presenting our card. Again, we've now opened that locker. So what I'm going to do now is just hand over to Gordon, who's going to give us a quick tour of the New York Design Centre and look at some of the key products there. So Gordon, are you with us?
Yeah, how are you, Alex? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah,
and good
fantastic.
To see the streets of New York.
Yeah, welcome. You've got the red buses in London. I've got the yellow cabs out the window here. So welcome to the New York Design Center, and very pleased to have McKenna Co with us today. They're a great resource for our clients in the Philadelphia and Southern Jersey markets, as well as Delaware. But just wanted to touch on a few products that we showcase here in our New York Design Center. And one of those is our Bleacher System. So as we all know, the workspace flexibility is becoming a key piece to the workspace, and the bleachers really speak to that. So products that users themselves can hack, that users themselves can change up and move around and adjust. And just point that out here. So our bleacher system works very much kind of like a Lego type system. And I'll just adjust a few of these here. Also great way to bring in different colors, fabrics, finishes. So we're going to put a single bleacher on top of another one, and then we can interconnect them with a double seat pad. So this locks it all together. And again, it just creates that piece that users themselves can adjust those bleachers and create a scrum space. They can move it into more of a Indian camp style. So there's just different types of way that you can do those bleachers. But again, allowing the users themselves to have the opportunity to adjust the furniture. And as I mentioned, a great way to influence different fabrics and finishes. I also want to look at some of our phone booth ranges. So we have the Residence Work, which is a single pod phone booth with fixed seats, fixed table, either sitting or standing. And then the Residence Meet, which is also a two-person pod with a fixed table and fixed seating. However, this product here is our Residence Max, which is a slightly larger phone booth, more of an inclusive experience. So it doesn't have a floor, and I'll show that to you. So as you can see there is no real threshold there, no 3-4 inch step up to get into the booth. And then while you're in the booth, you have a much better user experience. So I have a height adjustable table here. I have adjustable lighting and adjustable ventilation. Gives the users themselves a better experience when using the booth so that they themselves can adjust it to their own temperature, their own lighting. One of the neat things about the Residence Max is also its inclusivity, so that users with a physical disability can have a better experience rather than stepping up into a smaller phone booth. This does do the work of a phone booth. If you're looking for a product that is more geared towards video calls, be happy to show you the Residence Connect on our website. We'll send out a link for that. But the Residence Connect is a true video pod experience. This is more for those phone calls where you're going to need 20, 30-minute phone calls, and then you step back out. So one of the other things about this product, it is UL approved, not just meets UL certificate, but it's actually UL certified, which helps us when we're dealing with fire code and sprinkler regulations. If required, we can do a sprinkler, as you can see there. The next product I want to talk about in our pods and booths range is the railway carriage. So I'm going to start actually here on the back side of the railway carriage and work our way around. And I think it's important because when you're looking at product, to be able to look at a holistic view. So a lot of our product is used to divide up spaces. And traditionally it might have been a millwork type product, but now we're creating furniture pieces that can do that. And then also utilizing various components of it. So here on the back side, the railway carriage, as you can see, you have a whiteboard, you have a table. So we're using the back of the railway carriage to divide up a specific space. Then moving on to the front of it, this is our 4-person phone booth with a attic roof. The nice thing about this product is there's different types of technologies that we can add to it. So here we've got a screen, HDMI, USB, USB-C, and power. You could do them with the backless, It's also another great way to have one-on-one meetings where you don't have to have exactly a private conversation, but you still have some of that acoustic ability, some of that acoustic properties within the booth. So another way to influence color and branding throughout a space. And we've seen that, especially in the post-COVID workplace where people want to come into the office to collaborate. This is the tool to do that. And I'll just show you the two-person backlets here as well. So moving throughout the space, as you can see, there's a lot of our Palisades grid product throughout this space. One of the pieces I wanted to touch on was just the way a lot of the Spacestor products work together as a family. So this particular product is our Hot Locker Go, which you can see there, but coupled with the Palisades product on top of that. Again, being able to create up space but still have functionality. So this is one way that a lot of our products work together as a family. And as you can see above me and around me, we also have the Palisades Ii family. So Palisades works in 32-inch increments and is more modular, whereas the Palisades Ii is more of a linear type product. And we'll see that as we go to the courtyard here. So one of the ideas behind Palisades was to be able to create spaces within space or architecture within architecture, where the users had the ability to create rooms without putting up demising walls, without having to reconfigure, put different sprinklers in, put different HVAC. So being able to create spaces that are defined rather than via just some loose furniture pushed out into the middle of a room. Palisades 2 has the ability to go from a 2D look to a 3D grid system, which is showcased here. We also have the ability to do it completely freestanding. So this courtyard is just resting on the floor here, and it's just not fixed to the ceiling. So again, a completely modular system for flexibility at a later time. It's also a great way to bring in products like biophilia through the planter boxes, as well as acoustic panels, whiteboards, makes it a much more functional product. And then I'll just note here that we've actually, through the design of our showroom with Gensler, we actually did a horizontal mount unit or vertical mount unit on the ceiling. So I'll just show that to you here. There you are. So this is just mounted to the ceiling. We've done several projects since then with our product mounted on to the ceiling, hung from the ceiling, which have turned out really well. So Alex, that's a few of the products that we have here in the New York showroom.
That's great. Thanks, Gordon. Appreciate it. And I realized that I actually skipped the final product, which I was going to show you everybody. So let's just give you just a 2-second tour of the Residence Connect, which was the product Gordon just referred to. So this is Spacestor's modular acoustic video booth. So very much designed from the ground up for the video user versus a lot of the products that you may have seen in the Residence Max that Gordon mentioned earlier, which is very much around the telephone user. So a short 15-20 minute phone call versus a 1 to 2 to sometimes 3 hour video meeting. And the environment that's created to enable those conversations to happen is actually very different. So we've really focused with this product, again, in making it ADA compliant. So we have a step-free threshold, as you would have just seen, but also on the user experience generally. So making sure that I'm able to work comfortably and ergonomically supported using this ergonomic task chair. We've actually got the independently adjustable work surface, so I can actually drop this up and down, but I can also separately adjust the monitor, so I can actually get myself framed correctly within the monitor window. I can adjust the lighting, which means that for different users, no matter what their skin color or skin tone, they're getting a great digital representation of themselves. So you can find out more about the Residence Connect, and we'd love to talk to you about that. But I'm conscious we are pretty much bang on time. Thanks very much for joining us today. Have you got any finishing thoughts, Kate, to wrap us up on before we close?
Thank you very much for the tours. And we put the website information in the chat box. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Cool, good, that's great. Thanks, Kate. Thanks for having us. And thanks everyone who's joined us, both through the Zoom platform or also via LinkedIn Live, via the live stream. So you've just been on a very quick whistle-stop tour of the Spacestor London Design Centre, the Spacestor New York Design Centre. We look forward to working with you. Thanks again and have a great rest of your day.